Here we go. So this map so far doesn't have any of the ridiculousness that the last one did in terms of that giant water iron patch that we all saw. And the computer promptly kill himself on top of. That was pretty fantastic. But I'm kind of trying to decide exactly what I could do with it. I kind of like the idea of Scavenger, actually. Scavenger looks really, really nice to me right now. I think I could make it work pretty well. There is this downside of if a Scavenger plants in here, he's basically killed both of us. But if he doesn't, then I'm good to go. I'm all set. Okay, somebody else wanted it a little bit more than I did. That's unfortunate. But that's... I hate it when this happens multiple times in a row. I'm like, alright, we've got a backup. Nope. Not a good enough backup. Jerk. Deal with it. Alright, fine. We can kind of make this work. Both of those guys planted near aluminum. So the hope is basically that these people will be pulling in quite a lot of aluminum, and I'll be okay on my own without any for the time being. And we'll likely just make that very standard play into farms at HQ level 2, maybe some power or something else that can work out reasonably well at HQ level 3, especially as there are no robotic players in the game, kind of doing their weirdness to power prices. So we'll just be going for a quick upgrade in a moment here. There it is. Very simple and straightforward. And now we will get into farms. Slow process that is. One farm. I should really be chain selling these.
Market is online.
Come on, you can do it. 2 farms. We're focusing on the farms, and then maybe we'll think about the black market afterward. Also, you'll note I sold my carbon instead of my silicon because the 2 scavengers drove carbon up to $30, but silicon down to 15. So it's just like, whatever, we'll take it. We'll just take our 600 bucks and get out. Okay, nanotech potentially has some real good stuff to be done with it this game, but... And I feel like it should have gone for more than 16,000, but I'm kind of nervous about that level of debt. I would like to be able to get an extra claim later on, maybe. Things like that could be highly beneficial to me. Okay, the claim did pop up to 3. I want to see if I can get it for 3. Claim for 3 would be really, really nice. We basically just have to wait on this steel to make us the money, though. And I'm still fairly comfortable with having put down all these farms first. That's pretty important to go ahead and do. So I get a claim for pretty cheap. I'm tempted to just put this in a geotherm. As fairly straightforward, just a basic, hey, here's some power, you're good to go. We already have a moneymaker in food, right? Food's going to be making us strong money for the most part. Aluminum's going to be fairly cheap. Maybe I can afford that steel commitment and delay expansions a bit to go ahead and get that geotherm down. Other options would be to just go ahead and go into a reactor right now. The downside is I end up with all my stuff planted right next to each other. And maybe I want to wait for the next HQ level before I actually get into a bunch of reactors, if that makes sense. But I'm very tempted by this potential steel play. Silicon popped up to 40, so I'll go ahead and sell that down so I can go ahead and get a geotherm established for some power. He's going into reactors, no big surprise there. And now we're just waiting on this food and this steel. And that's it. That's all we have to do right now. I could also take some silicon at some point in the future. Let's see, we've got 1 silicon quarry there, and it looks like that might be it. Yeah, just the 1 quarry. This guy's been making glass the whole time, so he's not really making a whole lot of money from that. It is worth noting. I do have the option of going ahead and grabbing another fairly cheap claim, which I think I'm going to go ahead and do, and establishing another geotherm. I don't have a whole lot of debt going on. Herbert, it looks like, pushed to a geotherm before I did, and so he's the one getting hit by mutinies. On top of that, I don't remember if Scientific still has their mutiny defense or not, actually. That's an important question. Now we're going to go ahead and push into that glass, now that we're for sure headed to an upgrade soon. We'll go ahead and push into that glass. Power not doing great, but it's not awful either. It's just kind of in this awkward spot. I'm not really sure what to do with it. Bradbury is pushed to HQ level 4 already. Really no big surprise. Core sample could actually be pretty cool. I would take a core sample right now. I'm not sure exactly how much to bid on it. I'm not really making money from power. I don't expect to anytime soon either. So I don't think I want to push all that high for the core sample. Maybe 9,000 is okay though. So I'm going to go ahead and do with this is throw it down right over here. Okay, I ended up with carbon for that particular core sample. I was kind of hoping maybe I could get a nice silicon triangle going. That would work out very nicely for me. It was not meant to be. Instead, I'll just throw down some basic reactors and maybe still just some silicon quarries that I could move around later. I have the option of getting slant drilling if I need to. All kinds of silly little things I can do. Frankly, we can see how it goes. And along with this, it might be a good idea to go ahead and grab a goon squad and plant it down, say right there. That way, at least my main source of production is very well protected. Silicon quarries are going to be making great money. Obviously, his silicon quarries are already making great money is the problem. He actually has better quarries than I do. He actually has 2 of them now. I missed that this was 2 lines whenever it became 2 lines. On the other hand, he's been having to make glass this whole time as well, so he's not doing a whole lot with... Whoa! I don't know where to put everything. Carbon would not be the right decision. Maybe silicon's okay-ish. It should have been food, but whatever. Hopefully I still made some money on that. That was just super awkward. Like, throw everything. Go. Make it all work. Well, at least we're reasonably well set up for a situation like that. We're making... Electrolysis reactors are always fantastic after a Marsquake, just because they make so many resources that all became very, very valuable. And the silicon is still going to be working out just fine. Absolutely what we want. We can go ahead and hit an upgrade to HQ4. And I'm tempted to go ahead and do that. Other options aren't very good, honestly. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm going to throw down a core sample right there. It turns out to be water. Aluminum skyrocketed on me, but I don't know if I want to take any. I didn't realize aluminum was quite that expensive when I went for this upgrade. Okay. Moving into glass might be a pretty good option. Alright. Of course we did. Just freeze over there. For reasons that should be fairly obvious. I'm tempted by a patent lab right here. Maybe a carbon quarry here, because carbon's doing well and we get adjacency bonuses and I can move those around later. 2 claims left. One can go at a reactor pretty easily. We're going to stop auto-selling power. I'm going to forget to turn that back on later and it's going to become a huge issue, but for now it's the right call, in my opinion. And then we can go ahead and get down a steel mill, I suppose. Just make a little bit of extra steel. I never checked Offworld prices. Let's go ahead and do that now. Offworlds aren't great. They're just kind of usable. Grab a hologram for this guy. And go ahead and goon squad it as well, just because. Okay, how are we doing over here? The carbon is still pulling in good money. I wanted slant drilling. I need to go ahead and make that move into glass a long time ago. So let's get that done. Just a little bit of glass down. That'll be fine. His glass is now making fantastic money. Ours will be pretty similar, if we're being honest. Pretty similar amount. I'm worried Bradbury's just going to run away with it, because this was a pretty great spot in a lot of ways, and he got founded quite quickly. He's going into a pleasure dome, which is a little strange to me. It's got that nice little build animation. $152 a second. Okay, and he's got... This is not a pleasure dome. This is hidden. I don't know what it is, but it's not a pleasure dome. Alright, headed into slant drilling. Should be just fine still. We can even make these tiles work wonders with slant drilling if we needed to, if silicon hopped back up or anything like that. Yeah, black market, blah, blah, blah. What should I do with that? I should really be slowing this guy down. Oh, and he boosted. I didn't even realize there were boosts in here. Well, I'll tell you what. We can do something about that. Chems are fantastic to be making right now, but I kind of want to expand before I do anything with that. And unfortunately, this guy just pushed steel prices sky high. I'm having trouble getting to those upgrades. That power move just didn't really work out for me at all, unfortunately. I don't know what it was. I don't know why power was never a significant issue this game. Maybe Herbert went into 2 geotherms when I thought he only went into 1. Things like that can cause problems. Alright, tell you what, I'm just going to establish a little bit of chemical production over here. The steel is still coming. Unfortunately, this upgrade is super expensive for me to tear through. But thankfully, once I have everything established, I can fairly easily just sell steel down. So maybe it won't be the end of the world. I'm going to go ahead and scrap you. Get down a glass furnace. Hopefully that'll help out a bit. 2 claims left. Could put them into water-based stuff over here. I could just get into a group of 4 tiles here. That could be okay. Electronics are actually also a great option in this little area right here. A mule would not be the end of the world. It's not necessarily going to be good, but there's this basic idea. I'm scientific. I don't have a lot of base resources coming in, so maybe long-term having access to that mule is going to be fantastic. Now, I'm probably not going to interfere with any of those right now. I will sell down some glass. I'm not sure how to go about actually trying to win this game, if I'm honest. I need to use these 2 claims, that's for sure. I guess I could get down to Chem Lab here. Oh, it looks like an Offworld, so of course people are attacking it. That's unfortunate. I hate that it can look like an Offworld sometimes. I wanted, what? Teleportation? Sure, why not? Teleportation. Turn power back to auto cell, and I suppose we could go for an engineering lab for our last tile. Unfortunately, Clark started trying to buy Bradbury when I would have liked to be buying Bradbury. Maybe I could have gone after Herbert. That would have been a bit better. If Clark hadn't started buying Bradbury, then I think buying Bradbury would have definitely been the right call. Okay. That's all doing strange things over there. Holograms are just being weird this game. Tell you what, I'm going to hologram over here. Okay, that is an oxygen shortage on the way. That's interesting. And unfortunately, food price has been killed off. Power is going to be a little bit awkward. I guess I could move into power instead of steel for a while. Maybe an option. I don't know. I'm tempted just to upgrade power production a little bit so I don't have to expand on my 2 geotherms and then see what I can do from there. Now, it's unlikely he has a giant supply of oxygen sitting around. It's unlikely. Also going to drop a spy here. Okay, that is an off-world market constructing. So I'm going to grab this now. I'm not going to use it quite yet, but I have it prepared. Okay, I think we're going to take a giant risk here. We're going to take a giant risk. And along with that, I think it's almost time to scrap out of these glass furnaces. Alright, how much are you sitting on? Not a lot, actually. I think I was a little bit late to this. I should have bought in just a hair sooner. Just a hair earlier. Because now he has a lot of resources in oxygen sitting around. What a weird noise for the mule. Alright. Speaking of mules, I guess I could throw mine at water right now. Ooh, what happens if you mule water plus iron? I haven't actually done this yet. And let it go. Don't want to buy into oxygen anymore because I know he is substantially in it as well. Maybe we'll get lucky and other people will buy in a bit. Come on. Here we go. Not quite as much as I was hoping for, but at least we got something out of it. And we'll just keep going into Herbert. Ah, that did get defended. Shoot. I should have attacked it faster. I was just hoping it wouldn't get defended in time. It's also not that great, this game, right? It's just not all that great at all. Let's get that electronics production down. That should be fantastic for us. I think I'll just hold the glass for the time being. It's so cheap right now. Whoa, an electronics shortage? Are you serious right now? Alright, we can try and make that work. Chems are almost certainly not good. Not quite burning money all that much, but they're not good. Oh, prices are just getting to the point where having an off-world down has become kind of important. And it hasn't been a realistic thing for me to press into, ever, this game.
Your stock is being bought.
Yeah, I know my stock's being bought. It sucks. It's whatever. I don't know what to do about it this game. I've been trying to make things work, but man, they just have not been cooperating all that much. Well, silicon's good, but obviously we're using all that and the carbon to make electronics. One option would have been, I need to be using this guy or doing something with it at all. I suppose we could scrap it and move into a hacker array and try and make that work. I don't know if a hacker array can give us quite enough to finish the game, though. I mean, we would need to get to Herbert, basically, with this hacker array, is what would have to happen. Bradbury and Clark have created a really awkward situation. Herbert has managed to have no debt, which is interesting right now, given that he and I were mostly selling power at about the same time, for about the same amount. I don't know how he pulled that off in particular. Do I want to sell electronics, honestly? I guess I can. That guy's upgraded his electronics research, but he's not making very many. Oh, this guy's making electronics, though. I should be getting more aggressive with the black market against these guys. I can still try and make this work, but I don't have quite the dominance on this market I was hoping for. Basically, electronics is just so expensive right now that even with the ridiculous aluminum, silicon, and carbon prices, these guys can afford to make it. Just because it's actually that expensive. Which is unfortunate for me. Not really what I was hoping for. Thankfully, food prices are going up. These reactors are not doing so well. The carbon, I mean, I can turn the chems back on. They're just not very good. Aluminum, for some reason, is up at $80. Are none of these guys in their aluminum? Yeah. None of them are in their aluminum. They all have aluminum right next to their base, and they're just like, nah, not interested. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Well, I guess I can try and push to an Offworld. Since I have this hacker array down doing its job, I may as well use my money still and reinvest it, instead of going straight into other things.
Market is online.
I can put a hologram here. I can put an Offworld down. All that stuff. This is still defended. I need to get aggressive on it, it looks like.
We're not
there.
Just disappointed in you.
Using the network viruses to tear through the goon squad, of course. See, this is why I need to stop doing Offworld on Monday mornings. I just never can think well enough to keep up. Like, I'm not continuing my production anywhere. I'm not even necessarily hacking the right thing. Electronics are great, but realistically I should have shorted food. I could have maybe even beefed up my food production. I don't know why food is expensive as it is, though. I guess it got shipped for a while. Something like that. I guess it kind of works. It's just so awkward. Is anybody making oxygen? I'm not seeing it. Tell you what, we'll cancel this food short and just short oxygen instead. Herbert's halfway to buying us. I think we're probably just dead. Is he actually running 2 Offworlds? Or is the game lying to me? I saw 2 Offworlds for a moment. Man, he just keeps buying those goon squads, doesn't he? Sheesh. Oh, we can keep network virusing him.
The black market is online.
Trying to make all this work.
We're not surprised, just disappointed.
But this very strangely turned into a bit of an Offworld game. I didn't really get an advantage off my hack because I'm not paying enough attention. All kinds of bad things going on in this game. We'll send oxygen. I'm just not with it today. Turn these off. They're certainly losing money at this point. And there's the finally the buy for Bradbury. I think Bradbury will probably still take it. It's just stock prices are a little strange to call exactly how things are going to go. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to drive up these oxygen prices. I just never had a whole lot of money going on. I felt like I was consistently late to things. And most of that, I think, goes back to that geotherm play that I probably shouldn't have made, because I didn't realize Herbert was also making the play. Now, I'm curious how Herbert ended up in this position where he had no debt and was potentially even making money from power when I couldn't pull off the same thing. Maybe I just took auctions that I shouldn't have, things like that. Maybe that mule was a bad idea, which I never paid attention to what the mule did down here. So that was stupid. Man, aluminum, like seriously, power is where it is and aluminum is doing this, and I'm sitting here wishing, man, I would love to have an aluminum tile. It's not even a little bit going to happen. Sell out now. Steel's kind of, like, nothing's really making money. I still don't know what to do with these 3 tiles, quite clearly, which is why I haven't done anything with them. And I guess we can keep going with what we're doing, but I don't think it's going to quite pan out. This should not be happening. This should have been a food send a long time ago. There it is. We did push to teleportation. That's helpful. We can keep shorting oxygen while we're making it in decent quantities. But once again, like, we would have to push to the buy on Herbert, which we're nowhere close to, and he's very close to acquiring us. And then manage to move forward from there into Bradbury. And I don't see that happening. These are not making me much money. Just because aluminum is so ridiculous. I figures that aluminum would be the one that's ridiculous, where I'm planted on carbon and silicon. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I've never used this mutiny appropriately. There it goes. Just chain send food for now. I had another one prepared. I could adrenaline boost over here. That probably would have been a good idea as well. Seriously? Everybody's ready with the mutinies right now? Everybody's ready with them? Fine, whatever. Like, Herbert took it back, and then Bradbury was over here just like, nope, it's actually mine, deal with it. Whatever. So I guess Bradbury got a little bit lucky this game, in that everybody else did stupid things to power. And because of that, no, he's burning money in food, so that's pretty fantastic. Because everybody else did stupid things in power in particular, we're just going to take a huge risk here. He managed to get away with not going into power because power got made so it wasn't worth anything. It's really that straightforward. I'm going to have to take a closer look at this one and why it all fell apart. Just wasn't quite making enough anywhere, as it turns out. Of course, neither was Herbert. So Bradbury, I think, should still be able to run away with it. Although he is struggling to make money right now. Whereas Herbert, he kind of got the right idea. He's just making oxygen. It's losing drastic amounts of money for him right now. So it's rather fortunate for him that it got frozen. But it's the right idea. Just so happens that water finally goes nuts this late in the game for me. Finally, that late. If that had happened earlier, maybe I would have had a shot as a scientific. Did I thought I turned selling power back on at some point. Maybe Herbert did take it back again, but that would have been pretty ridiculous, honestly. If he had had a mutiny saved up and then also had a black market purchase in his pocket, that would have been kind of insane. Bright side for him, it's to the point where his reactors aren't quite losing him money anymore. He does have another Offworld over here.
Offworld shipment launched.
Maybe Herbert did save up one. That would have been kind of ridiculous, though. I would be... I'd have to seriously question that play. After he had been running with goon squads already for so long, I don't know. Because there were places to be using mutinies for the most part. Maybe he just didn't identify them. I don't really know. Didn't Clark have an Offworld down? I thought Clark had pushed to an Offworld. Well, Herbert may just run away with it because he's sitting on 3 Offworlds and prices got ridiculous, but Gameslayer does still have an advantage in money. It's just that his debt is really high, so his stock price is really low, and I think the 3 Offworlds will probably carry Terry through the game. It's just a very strange game. Aluminum is now $30. That's unhelpful. Did anybody even push into aluminum in a serious fashion? I guess Gameslayer did for a short while. He's still making electronics. That's not working out all that well for him. I think we were just slow to the upgrades. The geotherm play was a bad idea because Herbert had already done it. And it's always a major risk with scientific. You can make it work with expansive really well, but with scientific, making 2 geotherms costs 240 steel. That's a lot of steel. That's almost an entire upgrade. And that's something I should have thought about. That was just a poor play to make. I should have instead focused around just solar panels. They are a bit more of a scientifics tool. Geotherms are great for scavengers for the most part. They're great for expansive players for the most part. They don't work out well for scientific and 4 robotic. 2 steel heavy. Can't quite afford it most of the time. The reason it would have been insane is because he could have been using mutinies more aggressively, was basically my point. If he's sitting there holding on to a mutiny, then he's really... You have to question whether or not he's getting full use out of his... I can't see end-game stuff yet. Out of his black market benefit, given that there were things to mutinize. That was my primary point there. It's like, yeah, you can play it defensively, or you can just go steal other people's stuff, and then you catch the mutiny on the backside on your own. You miss like 30 seconds of Offworld time, but you gain maybe 2 minutes of Offworld time from a different mutiny. And given that Offworld is almost entirely measured in simply amount of time you have controlled in Offworld, you don't even give up 1 full send if you fail. And if you succeed, you end up in a great position. Yep, Terry's going to have it. Gameslayer's debt was too much, and it looked like he was struggling in a serious way to push into Offworlds, which became so important in this game, despite their relatively weak prices, because on-world prices never went all that nuts. More likely in a 4-man than an 8-man for sure.
Look at all the money.
I was attacking him consistently, yes, but on the other hand, my whole point is he doesn't necessarily get full value of his black market time, if that's in particular what he's doing with it. Yeah, you can expect an attack, but you should still be using your black market aggressively for the most part. Sorry, I'm going through chat right now.
Offworld shipment launched. Look at all the money.
And like I said, I would just need to see at the end of the game if he was managing to use his black market consistently, or if he should have thrown things around like that. A lot of food production down, but I think half of that's mine, so it's not killing him completely. We can see that this wasn't really a perfectly played game by anybody. There are a lot of mistakes flying around everywhere, but because there were a lot of mistakes flying around everywhere, it's kind of just who made the least mistakes. Network virus. I love how network virus has become the default for I'm gonna tear through goon squads.
Look at all the money.
Man, really, really odd to have goon squads up at this ridiculous price, though. 110,000? Like, that is a serious amount of cash you would have to pay. I think it would have been 70,000 for that last goon. EMPs have finally gotten to a reasonable value. Network virus should have actually seen a lot more use this game, and it's something I should have abused for more than just tearing through an Offworld. It's something I should have used to actually force the opponent I needed to lose money. I just got myself into this odd spot, trying to make the hacker array work, doing a terrible job of actually using my hacker array. So it was kind of a wasted tile. But I think the core of the issue still comes down to this geotherm. These geotherm plants, bad ideas. Terry's going to take it. Let's go ahead and check black market that game. I had 14 black market purchases apparently. Heisenberg had 7. Gameslayer had 10. Terry had 24. So he was using it. I'll give him that. And if he was consistently using it, then great for him. I didn't even notice the adrenaline boost for a long time. I think that caused me major problems. Yeah, a lot of black market out of him. He mostly just got to sit in his corner and black market up for himself for a long time, and then move forward from there. Because I was focused on, I wanted to buy out Gameslayer, but then Heisenberg ended up making that a little bit difficult, more difficult than I was expecting, because he got aggressive instead of immediately defending himself. And so my whole game plan in the mid game there had completely fallen apart. All right.